As we sit down to tape this, Missouri Congressman Todd Akin has only a few more hours left to drop out of the race for the U.S. Senate. But will he? Should he? I'm Steve Green. This is Trifecta, and here to answer those questions and more, of course, Scott Ott and Bill Whittle. Gentlemen, we got to start off. Here is the clip from the JCO report that caused all the uproar.
If an abortion could be considered in a case of, say, a tubal pregnancy or something like that, what about in the case of rape? Should it be legal or not?
Well, you know, people always want to try and make that as one of those things. Well, how do you slice this particularly tough sort of ethical question? It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
Wow. Forgetting for a moment the magic rape-proof uterus, Scott, here's what gets me. Every no-exceptions pro-life candidate knows he's going to get this question, and Akin was so unprepared for it that he causes a national firestorm. Is he just unready for the limelight?
Well, so far, the reviews that I've heard of this from the Republican side, which, you know, by the way, universally Republicans are saying, sit down, shut up, get out of the race. But the reviews that I've heard of this so far indicate that the guy has bad judgment, you know, that maybe he is ignorant or whatever. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. He said what I'm hearing from doctors. So who's his doctor? Is it like that hee-haw doctor? I mean, who's the guy who's telling him from the medical profession that there's something going on like this? Now, the problem is that there's a point that he could have made here in that the feminists and the pro-abortion people use rape and incest and the health of the mother as the excuse to justify all the rest. And the percentage of abortions that are a result of those things are relatively small. Nobody can put an exact number on it, but even the pro-choice people say it's in the neighborhood of 1%. He just abdicated all that territory by making that asinine statement. But why would he say a medical professional told me that? That's, to me, dishonesty.
It certainly is. And Scott, just a moment ago, thank you. I've been crying over this story for 2 days now. You just gave me a chuckle, and I really needed that, buddy. All right, now you need to see something from Akin's 9-person primary race. This is an ad that Claire McCaskill ran.
I'm Claire McCaskill, and I approve this message.
The most conservative congressman in Missouri, as our senator, Todd Akin. A crusader against bigger government, Akin would completely eliminate the departments of education and energy and privatize Social Security. Todd's pro-family agenda would outlaw many forms of contraception, and Akin alone says President Obama is a complete menace to our civilization. Todd Akin, Missouri's true conservative, is just too conservative.
I see what you did there, Claire. Yeah, Democrat Senator Claire McCaskill practically begged Missouri conservatives to vote for Akin because she figured he was her weakest opponent. And sure enough, he won the race. Sure enough, he said something incredibly stupid and wrong. And sure enough, now he's too stubborn to quit the race. Bill, how much fail is that?
Well, prior to the abortion comment, based on McCaskill's ad, I would have voted for him. Sounds like an awesome guy to me. And just as a quick parenthetical, I always like to point out that when conservatives run, they always try to convince the electorate that they're the most conservative of the conservatives. And when liberals run, they try to convince the electorate that they're the most conservative of the liberals. So there's that. But back to the salient point here, you know, it's entirely possible that this guy got bad advice from a doctor, but that doesn't excuse any of this stuff. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard, and that kind of comment is just inexcusable. It's an inexcusable comment. You're representing whatever your district is, or in the case of a senator, your state. Half of those people, slightly more than half of those people, are female. You just simply cannot have a misconception of that magnitude, I think, and be considered a serious candidate, especially, as Scotty said, somebody who's strongly coming out of the pro-life camp. You would think that you'd be a little bit prepared for this kind of thing, and it makes the entire conservative spectrum look bad, and especially this season when Barack Obama, in his campaign to divide the country into special interest groups, has done nothing but blow this horn about the conservative war on women. We don't need this kind of publicity. We don't need to be seen supporting it, even tacitly. We know that these guys support their idiots tacitly all the time. We have to be held to a higher standard. I think he needs to go.
Absolutely. All right. Scott, it's like a who's who here. Michelle Malkin wants Akin gone. So does Ann Coulter. So does Sean Hannity. So does Reince Priebus. So does Dick Armey. The list goes on. The RNC and Crossroads are cutting off his money and his free advertisements. So I have to ask you, what is keeping Akin hanging on in this thing?
Well, I think it's this sort of sociopathic rationalization, you know, and this, frankly, is too common among politicians. When you get to the point where the only question becomes what the impact is going to be at the ballot box. And frankly, this bothers me on both sides. It bothers me that the left is now saying that the only reason Republicans are calling for Akin to get out is so that they can replace him with another candidate, and it's all political considerations. And it really bothers me when somebody is saying, okay, I've just done something horrible, that I've completely ruptured the public trust. I've completely dashed any hopes I have for having respect in the eyes of my fellows. And yet, man, if there's even a chance I could win this thing, forget the whole character thing. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Me. Bill, here's the part where it really hurts, I think. On Intrade, Akin went from a 75% lock-in to about a 55% chance of losing, because as long as he's around, the left will do exactly what the New York Times did on Tuesday and paint every Republican as closet Todd Akinses. Don't his bizarre claims about legitimate rape, whatever that means, not leading to pregnancy, doesn't that give credence to the war on women nonsense?
Well, in a fair world, Steve, if you had an actual news media, the fact that every single conservative pundit plus the RNC is calling for his ouster would be the headline, right? Wouldn't that be the headline?
Yeah.
That somebody goes off the reservation in the party and the intellectual leaders of that party are standing the moral high ground and calling for his removal from within, rather than what we see time and time again with these Democrats who continue to lie and cheat and steal, with the full shroud of the media covering all of their actions and the DNC backing them 100%. The problem with this for Akin is it is the kind of revelation that is unrecoverable. It's not a gaffe, and it's not it's a worldview that is simply unrecoverable. It's like me saying, hey, you know what we all like to do on a Saturday? You know how often on a Saturday night in the summer we'll all go down to the morgue with a little beer and sit there and talk to the bodies and just kind of lose ourselves in reflection. You know, you make a statement like that and you don't come back from it, because it's a telling thing. He needs to go. And I just want to close on this one thing. Scotty's right about it being ego, but it's bigger than that. This belief that of 300 million people, we can't find 535 of them, that there's no replacement for this guy, the Republic will fall if I personally don't go to Washington and lead this charge, it's nonsense. Go away, man. Go away, and we'll take our chances with whoever the replacement candidate is.
Yeah. I like Sarah Steelman. She got the endorsement from Sarah Palin. That's looking like a pretty good pick right now. All right, folks, it's not my place to call on Todd Akin to step aside. I'm not a Missouri voter. I'm not even a registered Republican. But I can tell you this much. His words and actions the last couple of days have proven that Akin is too much of a self-absorbed ignoramus to serve with the self-absorbed ignoramuses of the United States Senate. That's a hell of a thing. For PJTV, I'm Steve Green.